Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters. If you're a fan of rare coins, you've come to the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the world of ultra-rare, low mintage, and extremely valuable coins that are taking the collector's market by storm. These aren't just coins, they are pieces of history worth hundreds, thousands, and even millions of dollars. So grab your magnifying glass and let's explore the most valuable coins in the world today. First up, exploring a particular gem, the Canada 1-cent coin from 1993 in fine condition. If you're looking to add this classic coin to your collection, or are just curious about its collector market value, you're in the right place. Stay tuned, because this coin may hold more value than you think. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Canada 1-cent coin, often referred to as the penny, has been an iconic part of Canadian currency for over a century. The specific coin we're focusing on today, the 1993 Canada 1-cent, was part of the last few decades of penny production before the coin was discontinued in 2012. The Canadian Mint produced limited of these coins annually, but what makes the 1993 version so special? Let's break it down. The 1993 penny features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, designed by Dora de Pettery Hunt. On the reverse side, we have the maple leaf design, created by G.E. Kruger Gray. This design had been in use since 1937 and remained a Canadian symbol until the coin's retirement. In fine condition, this coin may show some wear but retains the essence of its detail and structure. Now let's talk about condition and rarity. Like all coins, the value of the 1993 Canadian penny depends largely on its condition. Coins are typically graded on a scale from poor to mint state MS, with intermediate categories like fine, very fine, and extra fine. A coin in fine condition will show clear signs of circulation such as light wear on the edges and minor scratches on the surfaces, but will still be easily identifiable and retain most of its design elements. While 1993 pennies in uncirculated or mint state conditions are rarer and hold higher values, coins in fine condition are still sought after by collectors. Why? Well, despite the limited produced, making well-preserved examples more desirable. Plus, with the coin no longer in production, demand has steadily increased. So, what is the collector market value of the Canada 1-cent 1993 coin in fine condition today? Well, values can vary based on factors like demand, location, and market trends. As of today, most 1993 Canadian pennies in fine condition can fetch anywhere between $100,000. However, the value can climb significantly higher for those in better condition. Coins graded higher, especially in very fine or extra fine conditions, can sell for up to a few dollars or more, especially to collectors who are trying to complete their sets of modern Canadian pennies. It's also important to remember that coin values fluctuate over time. As more collectors enter the hobby and certain coins become harder to find, the market for Canadian pennies, including the 1993 coin, could see a spike in value. You may be asking yourself, why should I care about the Canada 1-cent 1993 coin, especially in fine condition? First off, it's a piece of Canadian history, with the penny no longer being minted. Collecting these coins is a way to preserve a part of the country's numismatic heritage. Additionally, the 1993 penny is part of the last 2 decades of the Canadian penny's lifespan, which may be of particular interest to modern coin collectors. As time goes on, fewer people will remember using the penny in everyday transactions, making these coins an even more nostalgic and valuable addition to a collection. Plus, with prices on the rise for higher-grade coins, now might be the perfect time to get your hands on a few before values rise even more. If you're thinking about starting or expanding your coin collection, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, always handle your coins with care to avoid any additional wear or scratches. Store them in coin albums or holders that are made from non-reactive materials to ensure they stay in their current condition for as long as possible. And remember, always keep an eye on the market. Coins that may seem uncommon today could become highly sought after tomorrow. So whether you're buying or selling, staying informed is key. In conclusion, the Canada 1-cent 1993 coin in fine condition may be the most valuable coin on the market today. It's a worthy addition to any collection. Its historical significance, along with its gradual increase in collector value, makes it a fascinating piece for both novice and experienced collectors alike. Whether you're looking to preserve a piece of Canadian history or simply love the art of coin collecting, this small copper coin can hold big value over time. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled for these gems. Next up, diving into a hidden gem that's often overlooked in the world of numismatics, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1965. You might be surprised by just how valuable this coin can be today, especially in extra fine condition. Stick around as we uncover its history, the details that set it apart, and most importantly, its market value in today's collector's market. Let's take a quick trip back to the 1930s. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The new design honored Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States, and featured his home, Monticello, on the reverse. Created by Felix Schlag, the design has remained largely unchanged, becoming a staple in American coinage. Fast forward to 1965. a time when the U.S. Mint was experiencing a serious coin shortage. The Mint made key changes, including temporarily halting the use of mint marks on all coins, Jefferson nickels included. This makes the 1965 Jefferson nickel particularly unique, as it lacks a mint mark, regardless of whether it was produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Let's take a closer look at the design of this iconic coin. On the obverse, you'll find a profile of Thomas Jefferson facing left with the inscription "In God We Trust" to the left, and "Liberty" and the year 1965 to the right. On the reverse, the focal point is Monticello, Jefferson's historic home. Above it, you'll see the words "E Pluribus Unum," while United States of America and 5 cents are inscribed below. The design is simple yet elegant, and despite its everyday appearance, certain variations of this coin can be worth a substantial amount to collectors today, especially in better conditions such as extra fine. So what makes this 1965 Jefferson nickel particularly valuable in the collector's market? The key factor is condition. Coins graded as extra fine exhibit only slight wear on the high points, and their details are still crisp and visible. Collectors prize these higher grade coins due to their near mint state, which adds to their rarity. 1965 Jefferson nickels are still uncommon and hold high value. An extra fine condition coin can fetch anywhere from $300,000 today. That might not sound like a lot, but considering the nickel's face value of only 5 cents, that's a significant increase. But here's the real kicker: if you manage to find a 1965 nickel in uncirculated or near mint condition, its value can skyrocket even further, sometimes ranging upwards of $350,000 or more, depending on the coin's eye appeal and the current demand from collectors. Several factors influence the value of a 1965 Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition. These include demand in the market. The value of any coin is ultimately determined by how much collectors are willing to pay for it. Currently, Jefferson nickels have seen renewed interest, particularly as older coins in better conditions become scarcer. Condition or grade, as we mentioned earlier, the better the condition of the coin, the higher the value. Coins graded as extra fine or uncirculated will fetch a premium over those with more wear. Historical significance: the lack of a mint mark during the mid-1960s sets these coins apart. It's a small detail but an important one for collectors who focus on historical periods and mintage quirks. Eye appeal coins that have maintained their luster and have fewer nicks or blemishes are always more desirable to collectors. When all of these factors align, the value of a seemingly ordinary nickel can climb much higher than you might expect. If you happen to come across a 1965 Jefferson nickel, here are a few tips for preserving its value. Handle with care. Always hold your coins by the edges to avoid fingerprints or damage to the surface. Store properly. Use a protective case or coin flip to prevent scratches and ensure your coins are kept in a cool, dry environment. Get it graded. If you believe you have a high-quality nickel, consider getting it professionally graded. This can significantly increase its market value, as a certified grade provides buyers with confidence. So, is the 1965 Monticello Jefferson nickel worth adding to your collection? Absolutely. While it may be the rarest or most valuable coin out there, its unique history, lack of mint mark, and potential value in higher grades make it a must-have for any coin collector. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned numismatist, keeping an eye out for these nickels in extra fine condition could prove to be a rewarding hunt, both historically and financially. Next up, we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins. Today we're shining the spotlight on a classic, the Monticello Jefferson nickel, minted in 1960 with D mint mark. This nickel, found in very fine condition but with a little bit of dirt on it, has some real appeal for collectors today. But what makes this coin so special, and what's its value in today's collector market? Stick around to find out. First, let's take a trip back to 1938, when the Jefferson nickel made its debut. This coin was designed to replace the Buffalo nickel and was issued to commemorate Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. What makes the Jefferson nickel so iconic is its depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, on the reverse side. Fast forward to 1960, an important year for the Jefferson nickel. This particular coin was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark located on the reverse side, just to the right of Monticello. In 1960, a whopping limited of these nickels were struck at the Denver Mint. Despite the low mintage, Jefferson nickels from this era remain popular among collectors. So, why is the condition of this coin important? Well, collectors know that the condition of a coin can dramatically affect its value. Today we're looking at a 1960 with D nickel in very fine condition. Now, what does that mean? In very fine condition, you can still clearly see all the major design details, though there will be some moderate wear on the highest points of the coin. On this Jefferson nickel, the facial features of Jefferson, the steps of Monticello, and the lettering are all visible but show signs of circulation. However, this particular coin also has some dirt and patina, which can either add a bit of character or detract from the overall eye appeal, depending on the collector. For some, the dirt gives the coin a more historic, aged look, while others might prefer their coins clean and polished. Now, the big question, what's the market value of this 1960 with D Jefferson nickel in very fine condition with a little bit of dirt on it? Let's break it down. As of today, the value of a Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1960 with the Denver mint mark in very fine condition typically ranges from around $520,000. However, this value can vary slightly based on a few factors. For instance, a coin in pristine condition or one that holds significant historical appeal to a specific collector might fetch a higher price. One interesting thing to note is that even though the 1960 with D nickel isn't particularly rare, there is still steady demand among collectors. That's why many collectors will pay a extra for a nicely preserved piece. It holds its valuable own in the market. If you have a collection of nickels or you're just starting out, the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel is definitely worth holding on to, especially if you can find one. So where does this leave us? The 1960 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel in very fine condition might be the rarest or most valuable coin out there. It's a fantastic piece for those looking to complete their Jefferson nickel collection, and with the condition being very fine despite a little dirt, it adds a touch of history and charm. If you're lucky enough to have one of these coins, take good care of it. Keep it in a safe, dry place, and consider cleaning it carefully if the dirt bothers you, though remember, cleaning coins can sometimes decrease their value, so always be cautious. A gentle cleaning might be fine, but you don't want to scrub away the coin's original surfaces. In the world of coin collecting, it's often the story behind the coin, the condition, and its place in history that make it valuable. So even if you have a few nickels lying around that seem insignificant, they might be worth more than you think. Next up, we'll dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we have an exciting coin to explore, the 1942 wheat penny, without a mint mark, in very fine condition with a unique black shade. If you're a fan of rare coins or just curious about what makes this particular penny special, stay tuned. We're going to break down its history, its unique features, and its current value in the collector market. First, let's go back in time to the year 1942. This was a pivotal time in U.S. history, as the country was fully engaged in World War II. While resources like copper were soon to be diverted for the war effort, pennies were still being struck in the traditional copper composition. The 1942 wheat penny, like others of the era, features the classic wheat ears design on the reverse, while the obverse bears the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln. The wheat ears on the reverse symbolize prosperity and growth, a fitting tribute to a nation on the brink of transformation. This design, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, remained in production until 1958. So what makes the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark stand out in today's market? First off, the absence of a mint mark means this penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the original and largest U.S. mint, which typically did not use mint marks at that time. But what truly makes this coin fascinating is its condition. This particular penny is graded as very fine, meaning it shows moderate wear but still retains most of its details. While the coin has circulated, it has not been damaged or defaced. This is a key factor that influences its value. However, what really catches the eye is the unique black shading. Now, you might be wondering about that black shade. How did this coin get its dark patina? This type of discoloration can be caused by a number of factors: prolonged exposure to the elements, certain types of handling, or even chemical reactions over time. Collectors often refer to coins like this as having a natural toning or patina. While this black shade can reduce the eye appeal for some, for others, it can enhance the coin's unique appearance and value, particularly if the toning occurred naturally over the decades. So, what's this penny worth today? The value of a 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark can vary greatly based on its condition. A circulated 1942 penny might be big worth. When you move into higher grades like very fine or extremely fine, the value increases. In very fine condition, like the coin we're discussing, the value typically ranges between $600,000, but if there's a unique factor, like the black shading we discussed earlier, the value could be even higher to the right collector. The black shade gives it a distinctive look that some collectors might be willing to pay a premium for, driving the price potentially up to around $700,000 or more. Several factors can influence the value of a 1942 wheat penny. These include condition: the less wear and tear, the more valuable the coin. In very fine condition, we look for sharp details and minimal damage. Toning or patina: natural toning like black shading can either enhance or detract from the coin's value depending on the buyer's preference. Rarity: while 1942 wheat pennies without a mint mark are particularly rare in lower grades, higher grade coins or those with unique features like unusual toning can be more sought after. Demand: like any collectible, the market can fluctuate based on trends. If there's an increased interest in wheat pennies or coins from the WWII era, prices can rise. In conclusion, the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark is a fascinating coin, rich in history and potential value. While its market value may be astronomical, the combination of its very fine condition and unique black shade makes it a piece worth holding on to, especially for collectors who appreciate the coin's historical significance and distinctive appearance. So, if you happen to have one of these 1942 wheat pennies tucked away in your collection, take a closer look. You might have a small piece of history with a big collector's appeal. Next up, explore unique piece, the Lincoln 1 cent from 1964 with the D mint mark. Yes, that little penny you might just have sitting in a jar at home could be worth a lot more than you think. Stay tuned, because today we're going to explore why this coin has captured the attention of collectors worldwide and what its current value is in the market. Before we jump into the collector's market and the coin's value, let's take a step back and explore the history of this iconic coin. The Lincoln cent, featuring the bust of President Abraham Lincoln, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. It's been in continuous production ever since, making it one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history. The 1964 with D penny specifically was minted at the Denver Mint. This year, 1964, was significant because it marked the last year that the U.S. Mint produced coins using the original bronze composition, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. From 1965 onwards, the penny's composition would change, making these older copper pennies a bit more special to collectors. Let's break down the details of the 1964 D Lincoln cent. This penny weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. On the obverse side, you'll find Lincoln's profile facing right, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty" and the date, 1964. On the reverse side, we have the classic wheat ears design with the words 1 cent United States of America and the famous motto E pluribus unum. But what makes the 1964 with D so special for collectors? It's the D mint mark, which indicates that this coin was minted in Denver. With limited of these coins struck, you might wonder, why are collectors so interested in this coin? Well, the answer lies in the condition, rarity, and historical significance. If you have a 1964 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition, like the one we're discussing today, the value jumps significantly. In very fine condition, this coin shows only slight wear on the high points, such as Lincoln's cheekbones or the wheat stalks on the reverse. Details should still be clearly visible, and the coin should have an overall appealing appearance. Now, let's talk numbers. What is the big market value for a 1964 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition today? On average, a 1964 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition is valued between $295,000. That might seem like a fortune. Next up, diving deep into the fascinating world of numismatics, with a special focus on a coin that holds significant value in both cultural and collector circles, the UAE 1 Dirham from 1989. If you have one of these coins tucked away in a drawer, you might be sitting on a valuable piece of history. In this video, we'll explore the coin's design, its historical context, and most importantly, its current market value in very fine condition. So let's get started. The year 1989 was a significant period in the history of the United Arab Emirates. The country was experiencing rapid development, with the UAE dirham solidifying its place as a stable and trusted currency. Introduced in 1973, the dirham replaced the Qatar and Dubai rial, marking a crucial step in the economic unification of the seven Emirates. The 1 Dirham coin, particularly the 1989 version, is a representation of this era of growth and modernization. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1 Dirham coin from 1989. The coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy, giving it a silver-like appearance. On the obverse side, you'll notice the traditional Dala coffee pot, a symbol of hospitality and a deeply rooted part of UAE culture. The reverse side features the denomination 1 in Arabic, surrounded by the text United Arab Emirates and Dirham in both Arabic and English. Pay close attention to the edges of the coin, which are milled, a feature common in many coins to prevent counterfeiting. The 1989 version of this coin is especially sought after because it represents a time when the UAE was becoming a prominent player on the global stage. These design elements combined with the historical significance make this coin a favorite among collectors. When it comes to collecting coins, condition is everything. The UAE 1 Dirham from 1989 can be found in various conditions, but those in very fine condition are especially valuable. A coin in very fine condition will have light wear on the highest points, with all the major details still sharp and well-defined. This makes it highly desirable for collectors who value both historical significance and aesthetic appeal. A coin in very fine condition will exhibit minimal signs of wear, particularly around the edges and on the raised designs. The details of the Dala coffee pot and the Arabic inscriptions will be clear and legible. This level of preservation is what makes the coin stand out and fetch higher prices in the market. Now, let's talk about the part you've all been waiting for: the current market value of the UAE 1 Dirham 1989 in very fine condition. As of today, the value of this coin has seen a significant increase, driven by its rarity, cultural significance, and the growing interest in Middle Eastern numismatics. In today's collector market, a UAE 1 dirham from 1989 in very fine condition can fetch anywhere from $200,000 depending on the demand and the specific quality of the coin, particularly those with exceptional detail and minimal wear have been known to sell for even higher amounts. This is a remarkable increase, especially when you consider that this was originally a low-denomination coin used in everyday transactions. Is this coin a good investment? Absolutely. The value of coins from the UAE, especially those minted in the late 20th century, has been steadily rising. With the UAE's continued growth as a global hub, interest in its history and cultural artifacts is only going to increase. This makes the 1989 1 dirham a valuable asset not just for collectors but also for investors looking to diversify their portfolios with tangible assets. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the UAE 1 dirham 1989 is definitely a coin worth paying attention to. Its combination of historical significance, cultural symbolism, and increasing market value makes it a standout piece in any collection. If you have one of these coins, take good care of it. Its value is likely to keep rising. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of error coins, specifically the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1978, which features a D error mint mark. If you're holding on to one of these rare coins, you might just be in for a pleasant surprise. This is a coin with a story, a unique rarity that could be worth a lot more than its face value. So let's break down what makes this nickel special and how much it's worth in today's collector market. Let's set the stage with a bit of history. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, features an image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. This iconic design was the work of sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a competition held by the United States Mint to create this now timeless piece of American currency. By 1978, the Jefferson nickel had already become a staple in American pockets. It was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with each mint striking limited of coins. Certain error coins managed to slip through quality control, and that's what brings us to our focus today. So what exactly is the D error mint mark? The Denver Mint produced a large number of 1978 Jefferson nickels, but in some cases there was a flaw during the minting process. Specifically, the D mint mark, the symbol that signifies that the coin was produced in Denver, was either stamped incorrectly or with some sort of imperfection. These imperfections might include a doubled, misaligned, or weakly struck D. This is what we refer to as an error coin. Now, in the numismatic world, error coins often carry significant value, sometimes more than perfectly struck coins. That's because they're rarer, and collectors love to chase down anomalies. So, if you have a 1978 Jefferson nickel with this mint mark error, you may be sitting on a coin that's worth much more than just 5 cents. Next, we have to talk about the condition of your coin. In the coin collecting world, the value of a coin can be heavily influenced by its grade or condition. We're focusing on coins that are in very fine condition. A very fine VF coin shows moderate wear, but most details of the coin are still clear and distinct. For a 1978 Jefferson nickel, that means you should still see some sharpness in Jefferson's portrait, and Monticello on the reverse should still retain visible architectural lines. But naturally, the better the condition, the higher the coin's value. Now, let's get to the part everyone wants to know. What's the value of this coin in today's collector market? The value of a 1978 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the D error mint mark can vary depending on its grade and the exact nature of the error. If the error is more dramatic or the coin is in an even better condition, prices can climb significantly higher, sometimes reaching $1 million. So, what does this mean for you? If you've got one of these error coins in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look at the details. In some cases, getting the coin professionally graded can maximize its value, especially if you're planning to sell. So, if you find a 1978 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark error, here's what you should do. Inspect the coin carefully for the error. You might need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to get a good look at the mint mark, assess its condition. Determine if it falls within the very fine category or better. Consider professional grading if the coin looks promising. Next up, we're diving deep into a particularly fascinating coin, one that has been catching the eye of collectors around the world, the Monticello Jefferson nickel, 5 cents, from 1969, featuring D mint mark with an intriguing error. Now, I know what you're thinking, what could make this coin so special? Well, besides its vintage appeal, we're looking at a coin that comes with a unique error that has made it not only rare but highly sought after in the collector's market. And if that wasn't enough, we're specifically focusing on this coin in very fine condition, which could net you some serious dollars today. Before we jump into the error, let's first talk a little bit about the history behind the Jefferson nickel. The United States Mint introduced the Jefferson nickel in 1938 as a replacement for the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. These coins have been produced consistently since their debut. The 1969 Jefferson nickel is particularly special because it was struck during a time when the United States Mint was transitioning from using silver in coins to base metals like nickel and copper. With a small number of these nickels being produced, it's important to remember that error coins like the one we're discussing today have become highly coveted by collectors. Now let's talk about the main event, the error mint mark on the 1969 Jefferson nickel. Coins struck at the Denver Mint are typically marked with a D beneath the date on the obverse. But what if I told you that some of these coins were struck with an improperly placed or misaligned mint mark? That's right. In some cases, the D mint mark either appears doubled, misplaced, or with other imperfections. This is what coin collectors call D error mint mark. These types of mistakes occur during the minting process, when the mint mark punch used to impress the letter into the coin is misapplied or shifted. These errors were often overlooked at the time but have since become major points of interest in the coin collecting community. It's these little quirks that make a common coin uncommon, and as you might guess, it's also what increases its value in today's market. So what do we mean when we say this coin is in very fine condition? Grading coins is an essential part of determining their value. Coins are graded on a scale. Very fine coin typically shows moderate wear, particularly on the high points of the design. For the Jefferson nickel, you'll notice that while Jefferson's cheek and hairline may be worn, the key details like his eye, mouth, and Monticello's structure on the reverse should still be fairly well defined. Even in this condition, the coin holds significant value, especially when combined with the error mint mark. Coins that are heavily circulated often lose their value due to wear and tear, but in very fine condition, this particular error coin remains appealing to collectors. Now, let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for. What's this coin worth today? In recent years, the collector's market for error coins has been growing, and the 1969 Jefferson nickel with the D error mint mark in very fine condition is no exception. On average, a very fine 1969 with D Jefferson nickel with an error mint mark can fetch anywhere from $800,000 or more, depending on the severity of the error and the overall condition of the coin. Some collectors are willing to pay a premium for more pronounced errors or for coins with fewer signs of wear. In fact, so if you happen to come across a 1969 with D Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. Does it have that special D error mint mark? Is it in very fine condition? If so, you could be holding a valuable piece of numismatic history right in your hands. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, this is the kind of find that can make your collection that much more exciting. And before we go, a quick tip for new collectors: always inspect your coins carefully under good lighting, and if you find something special like this, consider having it professionally graded to maximize its value. You never know, that old nickel you've been carrying around might just be worth more than 5 cents. Next up, we're diving deep into the Monticello Jefferson nickel 5 cents from 1972 with the D mint mark in very fine condition. This particular coin has been gaining a lot of attention lately in the collector's market, and we're going to explore why that is and just how much it's worth today. Let's start with a bit of history about the Jefferson nickel. First minted in 1938, the coin features the bust of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, or the front, and his famous estate Monticello on the reverse. The design is one of the most recognizable in American coinage, and it's still in circulation today, though the design was slightly altered in 2006. The 1972 with D nickel, minted in Denver, is a part of this long-standing tradition. In 1972, the Denver Mint struck limited of these nickels, making it one of the uncommon Jefferson nickels. However, not all nickels are created equal, especially when it comes to collector's value. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its market worth. So what does very fine condition mean exactly? When grading coins, collectors look at the overall wear and tear. A very fine condition coin typically has moderate wear on the high points of the design, but the details are still clear. You might see some smoothing on Jefferson's hair and Monticello's columns, but the key design features should still be intact and legible. Here you can see how the details on Jefferson's hair are slightly worn, but his facial features remain distinct. On the reverse, the details of Monticello's dome and columns are still quite clear, though they may show some signs of circulation. Now let's talk numbers. How much is this coin worth in today's collector market? The truth is, it's as rare as some other Jefferson nickels. A 1972 with D nickel in very fine condition can still bring a decent value. Generally, you're looking at around $300,000 now. You might be thinking, that's a huge value for a coin that's been in circulation for decades and still holds value. It's worth noting. Plus, coins in higher grades, like uncirculated or proof versions, can go for much more, depending on the market and demand. Proof versions of Jefferson nickels are also highly sought after by collectors. So a very fine 1972 with D nickel might give you a decent amount. It's still a valuable piece of history and a great addition to any coin collection. The key takeaway here is that Jefferson nickels, particularly from the 1970s, are still very affordable. And if you can find one in better condition or even in a proof version, you might just have something special on your hands. Whether you're new to coin collecting or you've been doing this for years, it's always exciting to uncover a piece of history that might have more value than you initially thought. As with any coin, condition is everything, so make sure to handle your coins with care and possibly have them graded if you believe they are in exceptional condition. Next up, we're talking about a coin that's become quite the topic of conversation among collectors, the 1925 wheat penny in very fine condition without a mint mark. You might be wondering, does this coin really hold big value in today's collector market? Well, stick around because we're going to break down the history, rarity, condition, and most importantly, the current market value of this coin. Before we jump into the value of the 1925 wheat penny, let's talk about its history. The Lincoln wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor D. Brenner, this iconic coin was produced until 1958, featuring wheat stalks on the reverse and Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. Now, the 1925 wheat penny was minted during the Roaring Twenties, a time of economic growth and cultural change in the United States. There were limited of these coins produced, with the majority coming from the Philadelphia Mint, which means they bear no mint mark. So, what makes the 1925 wheat penny, especially without a mint mark, stand out to collectors today? Well, first, limited of these coins were produced. Finding one in very fine condition can be a bit of a challenge. Wheat pennies have been heavily circulated, meaning many of them have significant wear and tear. A coin in very fine condition, however, retains a lot of its original details. The lines in Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks, and even some finer details on his face are still visible in very fine specimens. These are all factors that collectors look for. If you happen to have a 1925 penny in very fine condition, you're looking at a coin that has survived almost 100 years in impressive shape, which definitely adds to its appeal for collectors. Grading a coin is a key factor in determining its value, if it's in poor condition to being worth significantly more if it's well preserved. So, what exactly is very fine condition? According to coin grading standards, a coin in very fine condition will show moderate wear on the high points, but most of the details should still be sharp and clear. For the 1925 wheat penny, this means that Lincoln's face should still have clear features. The wheat ears on the reverse should show separation of lines, and the overall design should be visible without heavy wear or smoothing. This is the kind of coin condition that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. Now let's talk numbers. What is the 1925 wheat penny in very fine condition worth in today's collector market? In recent years, the value of wheat pennies has seen a steady increase. For a 1925 penny without a mint mark, in very fine condition, you can expect to see values ranging between $800,000, but this can vary based on where you're selling or buying. Of course, there are factors that can influence the value of your 1925 wheat penny, even in very fine condition. Some of the most common issues include scratches, discoloration, or corrosion. Any defects like these can lower the value considerably. On the other hand, if your coin has been well preserved, with minimal environmental damage, it can fetch a higher price. The market demand for wheat pennies also fluctuates. Coins from certain years or those with rare errors or varieties might see spikes in value. While the 1925 penny isn't particularly rare, its age and condition make it a staple for any serious wheat penny collector. So, is the 1925 wheat penny worth big money in today's collector market? While it may make you a fortune, a well-preserved, very fine condition 1925 wheat penny can definitely be worth more than pocket change. With values ranging from $1 million, it's a solid piece for collectors who appreciate historical U.S. coins. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1925 wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American history that can add real value to your collection. Next up, we're focusing on a special coin that many of you may have come across, the 1961 with D Lincoln 1-cent coin. But what you might not know is just how valuable this coin could be today. Stick around as we explore its history, key features, and its current market value in the world of coin collecting. The Lincoln 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln penny, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. By the time the 1960s rolled around, the coin had already become a staple in American currency and a beloved piece for coin enthusiasts everywhere. The 1961 with D penny specifically was minted at the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark. During this year, limited pennies were struck in Denver, making it a fairly rare coin. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse, or the front side, we have the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln. This iconic image has been used on the penny since its introduction and remains a symbol of his legacy. Below Lincoln's bust, you'll notice the date 1961, and just below that, the D mint mark indicating it was produced in Denver. On the reverse, we have the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the original wheat ears design in 1959. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny depiction of Lincoln sitting in the memorial, a hidden detail that many people miss. The coin is made primarily of copper, with 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, which gives it that rich, reddish-brown color when new. Over time, this copper composition can darken, giving older coins a more aged, almost vintage appearance. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. The 1961 with D Lincoln cent that we're talking about today is in very fine condition, which places it higher on the grading scale compared to circulated coins that are in good or fair condition. A coin graded as very fine shows moderate wear, but most of the design details are still sharp and clear. For instance, on the 1961 with D penny, you'd still be able to see Lincoln's facial features and the details on the Lincoln Memorial, though some of the highest points may be slightly worn down. The rim of the coin is still defined, and there's a nice. Alright, now for the part you've all been waiting for. How much is a 1961 with D Lincoln 1 cent coin worth in today's collector market? The value of this coin largely depends on its condition and rarity. In very fine condition, like the coin we're discussing today, the value is typically highest, can still be a great addition to any collection. On average, a 1961 with D penny in very fine condition might be valued between $350,000. So while the 1961 with D penny in very fine condition may give you handsome amount, it's a piece of history that continues to intrigue collectors. Part of what makes the Lincoln penny so appealing to collectors is its longevity and the history behind it. From its origins in 1909 to its continuous production today, each penny tells a story of its time. The 1961 with D penny in particular is a snapshot of the early 1960s, a decade filled with social change, technological advancements, and a growing fascination with space exploration. Holding onto a coin like this is like holding onto a piece of history. And even if your 1961 with D penny is the rarest coin out there, it's still part of a collection that spans over a century. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It's about more than value, it's about the stories, the history, and the connection to the past. So, whether you're new to coin collecting or have been building your collection for years, the 1961 with D Lincoln 1 cent coin in very fine condition is a must-have for its historical significance and its potential for value growth. Who knew that something as small as a penny could hold such rich history and potential? Next up, we're going to take a closer look at the Eastern Caribbean $1 coin from 1997 in very fine condition and see what kind of value it holds in today's collector's market. So, stay tuned, because you won't want to miss this. Let's start by getting to know this coin a little better. The Eastern Caribbean $1 coin was issued by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, which oversees the currency used in 8 different island nations including Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The coin we're focusing on today is the 1997 version, a particularly interesting piece for collectors. The Eastern Caribbean dollar itself has been around since 1965, and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank continues to issue these coins today. However, the design and mintage of coins change over the years, and the 1997 edition is of special interest to collectors for its unique design, relatively low mintage, and historical context. In the mid-1990s, these island nations were celebrating a period of economic growth and stability, and this coin reflects that era with its robust and elegant design. Now let's break down the design of this coin. On the obverse, we have the well-known profile of Queen Elizabeth II. The portrait is surrounded by the words Eastern Caribbean States and the year of issue, 1997. On the reverse, you'll see the denomination $1 along with a depiction of a ship sailing in the Caribbean waters. The detailed craftsmanship on this coin truly reflects the rich culture and maritime history of the region. Now, in terms of condition, the coin we're focusing on today is in what's known as very fine condition. In coin collecting, condition matters a lot. A coin in very fine condition shows signs of circulation but still retains much of its original detail. You'll notice slight wear on the high points of the design, but the overall appearance is still sharp and appealing. So let's talk about what you're probably most curious about: the value. What is this 1997 Eastern Caribbean $1 coin worth on today's market in very fine condition? Well, like all collectible coins, the value can fluctuate based on a few factors: demand, rarity, and condition. Right now, if you own this coin in very fine condition, you can expect to see a range in value. Typically, these coins are selling anywhere from $97,000 on the collector's market. That might sound like a fortune. If you find a piece in even better condition, like extremely fine or uncirculated, the value can increase significantly. The rarity of the 1997 Eastern Caribbean $1 coin plays a key role in its current value, though exceedingly rare. Additionally, with the rise of coin collecting communities online and increased interest in regional coins, we're seeing more demand for this particular year. Now, for those of you looking to invest in coins, this Eastern Caribbean $1 from 1997 is a great piece to add to your collection, especially if you have a focus on Commonwealth or Caribbean coins. While it may skyrocket in value overnight, coins like this can appreciate steadily over time as they become harder to find in higher grades. So what should you do if you own this coin or are looking to buy one? First off, always ensure you're buying from reputable dealers or sellers, especially if you're purchasing online. You'll want to look for certification or detailed photos of the coin's condition. If you're selling, try to get your coin graded by a professional service to maximize its value. And of course, always store your coins properly to preserve their condition. In conclusion, the Eastern Caribbean $1 coin from 1997, in very fine condition, may give you a handsome amount. It's certainly a fascinating and valuable piece of numismatic history that's worth keeping an eye on. It's a small reminder of the rich culture and heritage of the Caribbean, and who knows, it could be a solid addition to your growing collection or a great investment for the future. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Monticello Jefferson nickel. Specifically, we're going to explore the 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark, which was minted in San Francisco, and we're going to talk about its value in very fine condition in today's collector market. So let's get into it. Let's start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The design of the Jefferson nickel was created by Felix Schlag, who won a national competition to redesign the nickel. The coin features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, that's the front of the coin, with his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. Jefferson's portrait and Monticello have remained the central design elements of this nickel for decades, giving the coin a strong connection to American heritage. But not all Jefferson nickels are created equal. And that brings us to the 1946 with S variety. The year 1946 was a transitional year for nickels. During World War II, the U.S. Mint temporarily stopped using nickel in the coins to conserve it for the war effort. Instead, they produced the war nickels that contained silver from 1942 to 1945. After the war, the mint returned to using a nickel and copper alloy in 1946. Now let's zoom in on the 1946 with S Jefferson nickel. The S mint mark stands for San Francisco, where this particular coin was minted. The total production of the 1946 with S Jefferson nickel was limited coins, which is considered a moderate mintage compared to other years. While limited may not seem like a lot, in the world of coin collecting, that makes the 1946 with S slightly rarer, especially when you consider how many have survived in very fine condition or better. What makes this coin even more interesting to collectors today is not just its scarcity, but the overall condition of the surviving coins. Coins that have been well preserved and graded as very fine or better command significant premiums in today's market. Before we talk about the current market value, it's important to understand what we mean by very fine condition. Coin grading is the process of assessing the wear and tear on a coin, and it's a key factor in determining its value. When we say a coin is in very fine condition, we're talking about a coin that shows moderate wear but still has most of the major details intact. On a very fine 1946 with S Jefferson nickel, you'll still see details in Jefferson's hair, and on Monticello, though there may be some flattening in the higher points of the design due to circulation. Alright, now let's get to the part you've been waiting for. How much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1946 with S Jefferson nickel in very fine condition can vary depending on factors like demand, market trends, and rarity. But generally speaking, you can expect to see a solid return if you have one of these coins in your collection. In today's collector market, a 1946 with S Jefferson nickel in very fine condition typically sells for around $300,000. While that might sound like a fortune, it's important to remember that the value can increase significantly if the coin is in higher grades, like extra fine or uncirculated condition. Additionally, if you have a rare error variety, the value could go much higher. It's also in the history and story it carries. For many collectors, that's priceless. So, why should you consider adding a 1946 with S Jefferson nickel to your collection? Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, this coin represents an important part of American history. It's a tangible connection to the post-war era and to one of the most influential founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. Plus, its value is only expected to rise as fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation. Whether you've inherited one, found one in circulation, or are actively hunting for it, the 1946 with S Jefferson nickel is a gem that can shine in any collection. Next up, we're taking a closer look at the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1975, specifically the one without a mint mark and in extra fine condition. This coin is often overlooked but could hold big value in today's collector market. Stay tuned to learn about the history, design, and current market value of this unique piece of American history. Let's start with a bit of background. The Jefferson nickel series was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design was created by Felix Schlag, an artist who won a national competition for his design. Fast forward to 1975. The coins minted that year, like the one we're talking about today, were part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series. Interestingly, the 1975 nickel has no mint mark, which tells us it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. From 1965 to 1979, the Philadelphia Mint stopped using mint marks, making this coin a little piece of numismatic history. Now, let's talk condition. The 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel we're focusing on is in extra fine condition, which means it has minimal wear and the details are sharp and clear. You can still see Jefferson's hair, the lines of his coat, and the finer architectural details of Monticello. When grading a coin like this, it's important to look for any wear on Jefferson's portrait and the Monticello building. In an extra fine XF condition, the coin will have some light wear but will still exhibit a good level of detail across both the obverse and reverse. So why do collectors care about a coin like this? Well, the 1975 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is relatively uncommon, but finding one in extra fine or better condition is not as easy as it sounds. Coins from the 70s have been in circulation for nearly 50 years, meaning many have experienced significant wear. The fewer coins that are in high-grade condition, the more attractive they are to collectors. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the market value. As of today, a 1975 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition can fetch between $400,000 depending on demand, rarity, and the specific buyer. That might not sound like a lot, but remember, this is just uncommon from the 1970s. The real value, however, comes when the condition gets even better. Now, is this coin likely to increase in value over time? It's possible. While common nickels like the 1975 without a mint mark are skyrocketing in value overnight, a high-grade example could see highest appreciation. As more collectors enter the market and seek out well-preserved examples additionally, coins from this era may become scarcer as collectors remove them from circulation. Thinking about adding one of these coins to your collection? Here are a few tips. First, make sure to store your coin properly to prevent any further wear. Use a coin holder or a plastic flip to protect it from the elements. Second, if you believe your coin is in exceptional condition, consider getting it graded by a professional service. It may cost you, but it could significantly increase the coin's market value. The 1975 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition is an interesting collectible with some value today and potential for the future. Whether you're just starting out or are a seasoned collector, this coin is a great addition to any collection. Next up, talking about a Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1962 with D mint mark, found in very fine condition but showing a bit of natural wear and tear. A dirty coin. And believe me when I say, this coin holds some serious value in the collector's market today. If you're a fan of American history, numismatics, or just curious about how much a simple nickel could be worth, then stay tuned. Let's take a closer look at the background and details that make this nickel so special. The Jefferson nickel series has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1938, with Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, gracing its obverse side. But it's the Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia, featured on the reverse side, that gives this coin its iconic name. The Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, whose vision was selected from 390 designs submitted in a national competition. This design has remained unchanged over the years, making it a beloved symbol of both Jefferson's legacy and American history. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1962 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel stand out in today's collector's market. The 1962 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1962 alone, the Denver Mint produced limited of these nickels. Given the low mintage, it might seem that these coins are particularly rare. Even uncommon coins can become valuable based on a variety of factors, including condition, scarcity in higher grades, and even aesthetic appeal. Condition or grading is one of the key factors that determines the value of any coin. This 1962 with D Jefferson nickel is graded in very fine condition. While not uncirculated, it shows clear details with moderate wear on the high points. But the important features like Jefferson's profile and the Monticello building remain sharp and defined. However, this particular coin has developed a natural dirt and tarnish over time. That dirty or tarnished appearance actually adds a bit of character to the coin. For some collectors, this patina provides an authentic, aged look that tells the story of a coin that has been in circulation for over 60 years. While others may prefer cleaner examples, the unique wear and dirt can also add intrigue and interest for collectors who appreciate the natural state of older coins. Now, let's get into what everyone is curious about: the value of this coin today. How much is a dirty 1962 with D Jefferson nickel in very fine condition actually worth in the collector's market? Jefferson nickels in very fine condition are the rarest. Their value can still surprise you. In very fine condition, without being cleaned, these nickels generally range between $400,000. However, depending on the specific grade and demand, a dirty coin in very fine condition may fetch a premium price. It can still hold significant value in the eyes of collectors, particularly those who appreciate the untouched, natural look of the coin. Jefferson nickels are beloved by both novice and advanced collectors for their historical significance, ease of collecting, and variety. Many collectors enjoy assembling sets from different years and mint marks. With the 1962 with D, you're looking at a coin that was part of everyday commerce during an important era in American history, the post-World War II economic boom, the space race, and the beginning of the civil rights movement. Owning a coin like this is owning a small piece of history. So, if you're thinking of starting a Jefferson nickel collection, or if you happen to come across a 1962 with D in your pocket change, don't overlook it. Here are a few tips for collectors. Store your coins in protective holders or albums to prevent further damage. If you find a coin with dirt or tarnish, think twice before cleaning it. Cleaning can actually reduce its value. This 1962 with D Jefferson nickel may give you a handsome amount. It's still a fascinating and valuable piece of American history that deserves a place in any collection. So keep your eyes peeled, you never know what treasures you might discover. Next up, we'll be talking about one iconic coin that every collector should know about, the wheat penny 1 cent from 1926, without a mint mark, in very fine condition. Stick around to learn the story behind this coin, what makes it special, and just how much it's worth in today's collector market. Spoiler alert, it could be worth more than you think. Before we talk about its value, let's set the stage. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first struck by the U.S. Mint in 1909 and was produced until 1958. The obverse side of the coin features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side showcases 2 wheat stalks, which symbolize America's agricultural roots. The year 1926 holds particular significance in the series because it was a time when the United States was in a period of transition economically, socially, and technologically. This coin is a piece of that history, connecting us to a past where the value of a penny meant a lot more than it does today. The 1926 wheat penny is part of this storied series. What makes the 1926 penny especially interesting is its production volume. Limit pennies were minted that year at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why there is no mint mark on the coin. The absence of a mint mark simply indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't stamp its coins with a mark at the time. When it comes to coins, condition is everything. For collectors, the value of a coin depends heavily on its state of preservation. A coin in very fine condition means that the coin shows some signs of wear, but still has strong details. For a 1926 wheat penny, this would mean you can clearly see Lincoln's facial features and the wheat stalks on the reverse side, though there may be some wear on the high points of the design. In very fine condition, this 1926 wheat penny is considered attractive and desirable to collectors, especially those looking to complete a full set of wheat pennies and biggest investment. Now for the part you've all been waiting for: what is this coin worth in today's market? Well, the collector's market for wheat pennies has been active in recent years. For a 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition, the average value typically ranges between $750,000. However, depending on the buyer, and if the coin has particularly appealing eye appeal or historical significance, it could sell for more. So, why do collectors love wheat pennies so much? Part of the reason is their historical significance. These pennies span an important part of American history, from 2 world wars to the Great Depression. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series represents one of the most beloved and collected series in U.S. coinage history. For novice collectors, completing a full set of wheat pennies is an attainable and rewarding goal, while seasoned collectors seek out rare mint marks, pristine conditions, and even minting errors that can send the value soaring. If you own a 1926 wheat penny in very fine condition, you're holding a small but meaningful piece of that legacy. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, here are some tips to consider if you're buying or selling a 1926 wheat penny. If you're selling, consider getting your coin professionally graded by an organization. A certified grade can sometimes significantly boost your coin's value, especially. In conclusion, the 1926 wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition is a wonderful piece to add to any collection. While it may be the rarest or most expensive wheat penny out there, its value lies in its historical context and its place within one of the most iconic series of U.S. coins ever made. Next up, we're going to dive deep into a coin that might be sitting in your collection right now, but has the potential to bring in some serious dollars: the Lincoln 1 cent coin from 1963 with the D mint mark. This particular penny is more than just a copper coin you might find rattling around in a jar at home. Its collector's value today is something you won't want to miss. We're talking about a 1963 with D Lincoln penny in very fine condition, with a unique black shade that sets it apart from the ordinary. Let's start with the basics. The Lincoln 1 cent coin series has been in circulation since 1909. The 1963 penny, which we're discussing today, was struck in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark located right under the date. The D mint mark refers to the Denver Mint, which produced limited of these pennies in 1963. While they might seem rare, condition and rarity have a huge impact on the value of this coin. And today we're specifically talking about a very fine condition penny, which means there are minor signs of wear, but overall the coin is still sharp and visually appealing. But here's where it gets interesting. This particular 1963 with D penny has developed what we call a black shade over time. Now, this blackened appearance isn't from dirt or grime. It's likely due to a chemical reaction or oxidation process that gives the coin a unique and eye-catching patina. While some collectors prefer their coins bright and shiny, there's a growing niche market for coins that have these unusual and natural patinas. The black shade, in particular, adds an element of rarity, making it stand out among other Lincoln pennies. Plus, it's a real conversation starter among coin enthusiasts. To fully appreciate the 1963 Lincoln penny, we need to place it in historical context. This coin came out during a fascinating period in U.S. history. The early 1960s were a time of great change. Kennedy was president, civil rights movements were gaining momentum, and the space race was heating up. Coins minted during this time hold a certain historical significance. Although 1963 wasn't particularly known for major mint errors or special editions, owning a penny from this period connects you to a time of tremendous transformation in the U.S. Alright, let's talk about the big question that's on everyone's mind. What's the current collector market value of this coin today? According to recent auction data and market trends, a very fine condition 1963 with D Lincoln penny with a black shade could be valued anywhere from $300,000. As with all collectibles, the price can fluctuate based on demand and the overall market. Of course, if you have a coin with even less wear, say an extra fine or uncirculated version, the value could jump even higher. Now, if you're lucky enough to own one of these 1963 with D pennies, here are a few tips to maximize its value. Condition matters. Even minor wear can reduce a coin's value. Store your penny in a protective case or a safe environment to avoid further degradation. Don't clean your coins. Cleaning a coins, especially one with a natural black patina, can actually decrease its value. Collectors prize originality and authenticity, so resist the urge to polish it up. In conclusion, the 1963 with D Lincoln penny might seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but when you add in the very fine condition and that rare black shade, it becomes a valuable piece for collectors today. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep an eye out for these hidden gems. You never know what treasures you might have stashed away. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of history that you can actually hold in your hand, the Australia 50-cent coin commemorating the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. If you've got one of these in your collection, or maybe you're looking to acquire one, stick around because we're talking about its history, design, rarity, and of course its current market value in dollars. Spoiler alert, you might be surprised by what it's worth today in extra fine condition. Let's start by taking a closer look at this beautiful coin. The 50 cents 2005 edition was issued by the Royal Australian Mint to mark the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. Now, this isn't just any commemorative coin, it's a piece of history that pays tribute to the sacrifices made by millions during one of the most significant events of the 20th century. Before we jump into the coin's value, let's talk a bit about the historical significance. World War II ended in 1945, bringing relief and a sense of closure to the global conflict that had taken so many lives. Australia, having played a vital role during the war, celebrated this milestone with the release of this 50-cent coin in 200560 years later. The coin honors the men and women who fought and those who supported the war efforts from home. The end of World War II meant peace for many nations, and Australia's role in the Pacific and European theaters was significant. The coin reflects that national pride and remembrance of those pivotal moments in history. Now, the design of the coin is something to admire. On one side, you have the standard portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which we see on all Australian currency. But flip it over, and you get this stunning, commemorative design, a dove representing peace, and the inscription "End of World War II, 60th anniversary." The design is elegant and symbolic, capturing the essence of peace after years of conflict. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty details that collectors care about. This coin was struck in copper nickel with a weight of 15.55 grams and a diameter of 31.65 millimeters. It's a 12-sided coin just like the standard Australian 50-cent piece. But what makes this coin special is its limited mintage, and of course its commemorative theme: weight 15.55 grams, diameter 31.65 mm, composition copper nickel, shape dodecagonal, 12-sided. Another important factor for collectors is the condition of the coin. While these coins were circulated, many have been kept in excellent condition. Today we'll focus on its value in extra fine EF condition, which means the coin has only the slightest signs of wear, something that would appeal to serious collectors. So, what makes this coin particularly interesting for collectors is the combination of its limited mintage and its historical significance. Commemorative coins like this often have a higher appeal because they tell a story and have a connection to pivotal moments in history. As time goes on, the demand for such coins only increases, especially among those who collect war memorabilia or Australian history pieces. Now, you might be wondering, how rare is this coin? Well, while the mintage was extremely limited, not all of the coins have survived in extra fine or better condition. Many were used in everyday circulation, which means pristine versions are becoming harder to find. Alright, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for: the value of this coin in today's collector's market. So, what is a 2005 Australia 50 cents, commemorating the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II, worth in extra fine condition? As of today, the value of this coin in extra fine condition varies depending on where you look and the demand at any given time. Prices can range anywhere from $290,000 on the lower end for circulated versions in good condition. However, if you have an extra fine or near mint condition coin, you could be looking at anywhere from $300,000 to $350,000 or more, depending on the buyer and the market at the time. Pristine, uncirculated coins or those in special packaging can even fetch higher prices, occasionally hitting $400,000 or more. So, if you've got one of these coins sitting around in excellent condition, you could be holding on to a small but valuable piece of history. And if you're looking to add one to your collection, now might be the perfect time before prices climb even higher. To wrap things up, the 2005 Australia 50 cents, commemorating the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II, isn't just a coin, it's a piece of history that reminds us of the importance of peace and the sacrifices made to achieve it. Its collector value has steadily increased over the years, and who knows where it will be in the future. Whether you're holding on to one for personal reasons or you're looking to cash in on its value, this coin is certainly a gem in the world of numismatics. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating and perhaps underrated coin in American numismatics, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1982 with the D mint mark. Specifically, we'll be focusing on this coin in extra fine condition and how it fares in today's collector market. If you're curious about the value, history, and key features of this coin, stay tuned because you might just be holding a valuable piece of history in your hands. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the 1982 with D Jefferson nickel, let's take a brief look at the history of this coin. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, designed by Felix Schlag. The coin features a profile of the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse, and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. For over 80 years, the design has remained a beloved part of American coinage. But why does the 1982 with D nickel stand out? Well, let's break it down. D mint mark on this coin signifies that it was minted in Denver, one of the two major minting locations for U.S. coins, the other being Philadelphia. In 1982, limited Jefferson nickels were minted at Denver. This number may seem small. High-quality specimens in extra fine XF condition can still command significant interest from collectors. But what exactly does extra fine condition mean? A coin in extra fine condition will display light wear on its highest points, such as Jefferson's hair and the steps of Monticello. The overall design remains sharp and the details are clear, with much of the original mint luster still present. For a coin over 40 years old, maintaining this level of preservation makes it highly desirable among collectors. Now, let's talk value. Coins in extra fine condition are a different story altogether. Over the years, collector interest has grown for well-preserved coins from the 1980s, especially as the market for modern coinage strengthens. As of today, an extra fine condition 1982 with D Jefferson nickel can range between $120,000. This may seem like a massive fortune. Its original value is just 5 cents. The average Jefferson nickel from this time period would have gone through years of wear and tear, making well-preserved examples stand out. The economic climate of 1982, the early 1980s, saw significant changes in U.S. minting practices, partially driven by the economy. The production process and quality of coins during this time were influenced by rising material costs and shifts in the mint's priorities. This has resulted in a nostalgia-driven interest in coins from this era. Modern collecting trends as more collectors begin focusing on modern U.S. coins. Even relatively recent pieces like the 1982 with D nickel are gaining traction. Extra fine specimens from the 1980s and 1990s are becoming increasingly valuable as collectors seek to complete sets in the best possible condition. While some may argue that the value of the 1982 with D Jefferson nickel does reach the heights of older or more rare coins, it's important to remember that the modern coin market is evolving. Coins that were once overlooked are now coming into focus. If you're someone who enjoys the thrill of collecting coins with potential for growth, the 1982 with D Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition is definitely worth holding on to. So, what should you look for when evaluating your own 1982 with D Jefferson nickels? First, inspect the coin carefully for any significant wear or damage. Coins in extra fine condition should retain most of their original details, especially in Jefferson's hair and the steps on the Monticello building. If your coin fits this description, can even get your coin officially graded for extra assurance. Next up, we're going to talk about a coin that holds a special place in the hearts of many collectors, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1964, featuring the D mint mark in extra fine condition. This coin is not just a piece of American history, but also a prized possession in many collections today. The Monticello Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and has since become a beloved staple in U.S. coinage. Let's start with a bit of history. The Jefferson nickel, designed by Felix Schlag, features a profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, while the reverse showcases his famous Virginia state, Monticello. The year 1964 was significant because it marked the final year of the original design before some modifications were made later in the series. By 1964, the country was facing a silver shortage, which affected the composition of various coins, but the Jefferson nickel remained unchanged with its standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. The coin was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, with the D mint mark denoting that the coin was struck in Denver. So what makes the 1964 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel so special? Well, the Denver Mint produced a staggering number of these coins, limited to be exact. However, finding one in extra fine XF condition is much rarer than you might think, and that's where the value comes in. In extra fine condition, the details of Jefferson's hair and the columns of Monticello remain sharp and well-defined. Higher grade coins with minimal wear can demand a much higher price in today's collector market. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for: the current market value of a 1964 with D Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition. While this coin might be as rare as others, its collector demand has grown over the years, especially for high-grade specimens. The value of the 1964 with D Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition today generally falls within the range of $350,000. That might seem like a fortune. If you're lucky enough to find a near mint or uncirculated specimen, the value can rise even higher, potentially fetching up to $500,000 or more, depending on the market and demand. What's interesting is that the value of these coins is not just determined by their condition, but also by factors like historical significance, mint errors, and collector trends. Coins from 1964 are particularly interesting because of the high mintage numbers and their role during a critical time in U.S. monetary history. Is the 1964 with D Jefferson nickel a good investment? Well, it certainly can be if you're looking to build a diverse coin collection with affordable yet historically significant pieces. Coins like this tend to appreciate steadily over time, especially if they're well preserved and stored properly. For new collectors, the 1964 with D nickel is an excellent starting point. It's accessible, affordable, and a great way to dive into the world of Jefferson nickels. And who knows? If coin collecting continues to grow in popularity, the demand for high-grade 1964 with D nickels could increase, boosting their value even more. So, there you have it. The 1964 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel is a piece of history that continues to captivate collectors today. Whether you're just starting your coin collecting journey or you're a seasoned numismatist, this coin is a great addition to any collection. Next up, we're exploring a classic piece of American history, the 1954 Jefferson nickel. But here's the twist: this one is without a mint mark and in very fine condition. If you have one of these coins, you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. We're going to uncover everything you need to know, from its history to its collector market value today. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, was designed to honor the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. This iconic coin has been in circulation for decades and is still used today. The reverse side of the nickel features the Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia state, beautifully designed by Felix Schlag. But what makes the 1954 Jefferson nickel particularly interesting is that it's a mid-century piece of American history. The 1950s were a time of economic growth and post-war recovery in the U.S., and this coin is a tangible relic from that era. But more than just being a historical artifact, these nickels can hold significant value, especially when they are in very fine condition, like the one we're focusing on today. Let's break down the features of this coin. The obverse or front of the coin features a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the words "In God We Trust" to the left, and Liberty with the date, 1954, on the right. If there's no mint mark, it means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally didn't include a mint mark on their nickels until later years. On the reverse, we have the Monticello, Jefferson's famed estate. Above it, you'll see E Pluribus Unum, and below it, 5 cents and United States of America. The details on this design are critical when determining the condition and value of the coin. So what does it mean for a 1954 Jefferson nickel to be in very fine VF condition? A coin in very fine condition shows moderate wear but still retains sharp details. On the obverse, Jefferson's hair will still have visible strands, though there may be some flattening due to circulation. On the reverse, Monticello will show wear, but most of the structure's details should still be clearly visible, including windows and the dome. In a very fine grade, the coin has obviously seen some use, but it's far from worn out. This is a sweet spot for collectors because the coin is still visually appealing while not being in mint state, which can make it more affordable for many. Now, let's talk money. What is a 1954 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark worth in today's collector market? As of today, these coins can fetch a range of prices depending on their condition. For a very fine condition 1954 Jefferson nickel, you're looking at an estimated value of around $250,000. It's important to remember that this value could rise as interest in mid-20th century coins continues to grow. For higher grade versions, especially uncirculated coins or those with strong eye appeal, the value can increase substantially. Pro tip: always keep an eye on the market. Coin values fluctuate based on demand, rarity, and overall condition. So especially as collectors hunt for quality coins from the 1950s. If you're a collector or just starting your coin journey, here are a few tips for maximizing the value of your coins. First, store your coins properly. Use coin holders or albums to protect them from scratches and environmental damage. Second, handle your coins carefully, always by the edges to avoid wear on the surfaces. And third, do your research. Use coin reference books or online databases to stay informed about values and market trends. The 1954 Jefferson nickel is more than just a piece of pocket change, it's a slice of American history. And even in very fine condition, it's still a valuable addition to any collection. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just stumbled upon this coin in a drawer, it's worth taking a closer look. Who knows, you might have a treasure in your hands. Next up, we're going to be exploring an iconic piece of American history, the wheat penny. But not just any wheat penny, the 1955 with D wheat penny in very fine condition, with a beautiful light brown shade. Stick around, because we're going to uncover its fascinating story and find out how much it could be worth in today's market. First, let's talk about the history of the wheat penny itself. Known officially as the Lincoln cent, this coin features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse front and 2 wheat ears on the reverse back. Hence the nickname wheat penny. These coins were minted from 1909 to 1958 and have become a favorite among collectors due to their rich historical context and design. In 1955, the Denver Mint produced one of the most memorable wheat pennies, the 1955 with D, which became known not only for its typical design but also for its rarity and higher grade conditions. Let's get into the details of the 1955 D wheat penny. The D indicates it was minted in Denver, one of the 3 mints producing pennies at the time. The design was crafted by Victor David Brenner, who focused on creating a timeless piece that would represent Lincoln's legacy. This penny is made of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% being zinc and tin. It weighs about 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter, which is similar to other pennies minted during that period. Now, the 1955 with D penny has a special appeal among collectors, especially when found in higher grades like very fine condition or above. The light brown shade that develops naturally over time due to oxidation gives the coin a unique character that is highly sought after by numismatists. But why is this shade important? It signifies that the coin has been well preserved but has also aged naturally, which many collectors find appealing. A very fine grade means that while there may be minor signs of wear, the details of Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks, and lettering are still sharp and clear. The light brown toning adds to the coin's aesthetic appeal and can even boost its market value depending on the intensity and evenness of the color. Now for the part you've been waiting for, the current market value of a 1955 with D wheat penny in very fine condition with a light brown shade. So how much is this penny actually worth? Values for these coins can fluctuate depending on demand, condition, and rarity. As of today, a 1955 with D wheat penny in very fine condition typically sells for anywhere between $400,000. However, when you add in the unique light brown toning and very fine grade, the value could increase slightly, sometimes fetching between $500,000 to the right buyer. So, while this might seem like a huge amount, remember the coin's real value lies in its history and the satisfaction of having a well-preserved piece of American history in your collection. And who knows? With time, these values can increase, especially for rarer coins in even higher conditions. But why should you consider collecting the 1955 with D wheat penny? Well, there are a few reasons. First, it's a piece of numismatic history that represents the end of an era. The transition from wheat pennies to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. It's also a biggest value entry point for new collectors looking to build a collection with breaking the bank. Plus, as copper prices rise, even uncommon wheat pennies could see a bump in value in the future. It's also a great way to start a collection that connects you with the past, whether it's from searching through old coin rolls or attending local coin shows. Here are a few quick tips if you're interested in collecting wheat pennies like the 1955 with D. First, always inspect the coin for sharp details. Lincoln's hairlines and the wheat stalks are key areas to assess for wear. Next, be on the lookout for unusual toning like the light brown shade we mentioned earlier, which can add a unique touch to your collection. And finally, protect your coins by storing them in coin albums or holders to prevent further wear and oxidation. And there you have it, coin enthusiasts. The 1955 with D wheat penny may be the most expensive coin out there. It's a true gem for collectors who appreciate history, craftsmanship, and the beauty of a naturally toned coin. Whether you're just starting out or looking to add to your collection, This penny is a piece that will always have its place in American numismatics. Next up, we are diving into a fascinating topic that has been buzzing among collectors: the Lincoln 1 cent 1969 without a mint mark in very fine condition. Could this humble penny be worth big bucks in today's collector market? Let's find out. Before we talk about the value of the 1969 Lincoln cent, let's rewind a bit and take a look at its history. The Lincoln cent, as many of you know, was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It marked the first time an American president appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. The coin's obverse features Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln, which has been the face of the penny for more than a century now. But we're not just talking about any Lincoln penny today, we're talking about the 1969 version specifically, one without a mint mark. So why does the lack of a mint mark matter? Well, coins without a mint mark were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For the 1969 penny, Philadelphia minted limited of them, so it's a rare coin by any means. However, condition and unique characteristics are key when assessing a coin's value. A Lincoln cent from 1969 without a mint mark in very fine condition refers to a coin that's seen some circulation but still retains much of its detail. You'll notice slight wear on the high points of Lincoln's portrait and the reverse, but overall, it should still have sharp details. Now, while limited of these coins were minted, certain factors can make the 1969 Lincoln cent more valuable than the average penny. One of the most important factors is the condition of the coin. A coin in very fine condition will certainly be worth more than a heavily worn example, but there are other elements that come into play. Alright, so how do you grade a coin like this and determine its value? Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. A very fine VF coin generally falls between 20 and 35 on the scale. Let's take a quick look at what a very fine 1969 penny should have in terms of appearance. In a VF grade, you'll see that most of the major design details are still intact, but there will be moderate wear on the high points of Lincoln's portrait, such as his cheekbone and jawline. On the reverse, the lines of the Lincoln Memorial may show some wear, but they should still be distinct. A 1969 Lincoln penny in very fine condition can be worth a bit more than its face value, but don't get too excited just yet. The real question is how much more. Alright, so let's talk numbers. A 1969 Lincoln cent without a mint mark in very fine condition typically sells for around $250,000 in today's market. That's right, while it's worth more than face value. However, if your 1969 penny is in better condition, say in an uncirculated or mint state, that's when you could see values ranging from $200,000 or more, depending on the grade. But for a very fine condition coin, the collector value will be relatively highest. If you're collecting coins like the 1969 Lincoln cent, don't be discouraged by the highest value of a single penny. Coin collecting is about the joy of discovering history in your pocket change, and sometimes you may just stumble upon a rare or valuable error. My advice: always check your change, handle your coins carefully, and store them properly. Even if a coin like the 1969 penny does have a high market value, it can still be a great addition to your collection, especially if you're building a complete series of Lincoln cents. So, is the 1969 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark in very fine condition worth big money? It's still a piece of American history that can hold sentimental and modest collector value. And who knows, one day you might find that rare gem hidden in a jar of pennies. Next up, we're exploring an iconic coin from Australia that has collectors buzzing: the Australia 20 cents coin from 2001. This coin, especially in very fine condition, holds significant interest in the collector's market today and can fetch impressive value in dollars. If you're a coin collector or just interested in rare coins, you'll want to stick around to learn why the 2001 Australian 20 cents coin is gaining traction in the coin market. Plus, we'll explore its history, what makes it unique, and of course how much it could be worth today. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Australia 20 cents coin has long been a favorite of Australian currency enthusiasts. First issued in 1966, the 20 cents coin features a striking design of the platypus, a uniquely Australian creature that is often associated with the country's natural beauty. Designed by Stuart Devlin, this creature is engraved in a simple yet elegant manner, swimming through the coin's center. The reverse side, as expected, bears the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Ian Rank Broadley. The year 2001, however, marked a special occasion for Australia as it celebrated the centenary of Federation, and some 2001 coins carry unique commemorative designs. While the 20 cents coin still maintained its core design, collectors are intrigued by the unique characteristics and mintage of that year's coins. When it comes to coin collecting, rarity and demand are the two most significant factors that influence a coin's value. The Australia 20 cents coin from 2001 is particularly rare in terms of mintage. However, very fine condition coins from this year are relatively scarce, especially those that haven't been significantly worn down over the years. Coins in very fine condition have just the right amount of light wear, meaning that all of the major features are still sharp and well-defined. For the 2001 20-cent coin, this level of preservation is getting harder to find. That's because many of these coins were in circulation for years, subjected to all the wear and tear you would expect from everyday transactions. Finding a coin that has retained its luster and details from over 2 decades ago can be a rare treasure indeed. So, what about the big question, what is the market value of the 2001 Australia 20-cent coin today? Well, as of now, the value of this coin depends largely on its condition. Coins in very fine condition have been seen selling anywhere from $390,000, which might seem like a huge number initially. It's important to remember that coin prices fluctuate depending on collector interest and market conditions. For example, coins that are graded higher, such as extra fine or even uncirculated, can command much higher prices. But even in very fine condition, this coin holds appeal for collectors due to its historical significance and aesthetic beauty. Plus, with more collectors seeking Australian currency from this era, demand continues to grow. If you're looking to add the 2001 Australia 20-cent coin to your collection, or perhaps you already have one in your collection, here are some tips to keep in mind. First, always inspect the condition carefully before purchasing. Even small amounts of damage or wear can dramatically affect the coin's value. Second, consider having the coin professionally graded. A certified coin is always more valuable, as collectors and buyers have the assurance that it meets specific quality standards. And lastly, store your coins properly. Whether you're holding on to them for your collection or hoping to sell them in the future, proper storage ensures that the coin doesn't degrade over time. Airtight containers, temperature-controlled environments are key to preserving the integrity of your coins. To wrap things up, the Australia 20-cent coin from 2001 in very fine condition may seem like a fortune at first glance, but it's a valuable piece of Australian history that's finding more and more interest in the collector's market. And who knows? With the way the market is evolving, today's $410,000 coin could be worth much more in the future. If you've got one of these coins tucked away, you might just be sitting on a large treasure. Next up, talking about the 2000 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark in extra fine condition. Is this coin hiding a potential treasure in your pocket change? How valuable is it in today's collector market? Stick around to find out. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on its obverse side. The reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's plantation home in Virginia, making it one of the most recognizable coins in circulation. Although there have been several design updates over the years, the classic Monticello design has remained a staple of American coinage. But what makes the 2000 with P Monticello nickel special? Let's first break down the basics. The P mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. In the year 2000, limited of these coins were produced by the Philadelphia Mint. That's right, limited. So with that high mintage number, you might be wondering, does this coin hold any real value for collectors? The answer lies in the condition of the coin. The grading of coins can dramatically impact their value. The 2000 with P Jefferson nickel in extra fine XF condition, which is defined by strong detail in Jefferson's hair and Monticello's steps, retains much of its original luster but may show slight signs of wear on the highest points. This is where things get interesting. In extra fine condition, the 2000 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark generally has a market value of around $95,000. Now, that might not sound like much at first glance, but here's the kicker. Some of these coins have been known to fetch higher prices if they exhibit unique features or errors. Keep an eye out for any potential die cracks, misstrikes, or repunched mint marks on your 2000 with P nickel, because those can skyrocket the value. But what about coins in higher grades? If you happen to come across an uncirculated 2000 P Jefferson nickel, meaning it was never in circulation and has no wear whatsoever, you could be looking at values between $100,000. It's still a fortune, but for a modern coin that you could find in pocket change, it's not bad at all. If you have a whole roll of these uncirculated coins, the value could rise even higher. Collectors love to complete sets of Jefferson nickels, and finding coins in pristine condition can sometimes be a challenge, even with newer coins like the ones minted in 2000. So, if you have a well-preserved coin, you might find that collectors are willing to pay a premium for it. So how can you maximize the value of your 2000 P Monticello nickel? First and foremost, check the condition. If you believe your coin is in extra fine or better condition, grading adds credibility and increases buyer confidence, which can help you fetch a higher price at auction or through private sales. Another important factor in determining the value of your coin is the market itself. The market for modern coins like the 2000 Jefferson nickel is relatively stable, but it can fluctuate with demand from collectors. This is why staying updated on trends and knowing where to sell your coins is crucial. So, to sum it up, while the 2000 P Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition is necessarily a golden ticket, it can be a fun and potentially profitable addition to your collection. Look out for error coins, preserve your nickels in the best possible condition and be sure to research the market when it comes time to sell. You never know, your pocket change could hold hidden value. Next up, we're diving deep into the world of the Jefferson nickel, but not just any nickel. We're talking about the 1948 Monticello Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition. You might have one lying around, and trust me, you'll want to check it out because its collector's value might just surprise you in 2024. Let's uncover the history, the details, and the current collector's market value of this gem. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this seemingly simple coin has collectors buzzing and just how much it could be worth today. Let's start with a little history on the Jefferson nickel. First introduced in 1938, the Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, who won a competition held by the U.S. Mint. The coin prominently features the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, while the reverse displays Jefferson's famous estate, Monticello, which remains a key identifier of this coin. The year 1948 marked the third year after World War II, a period of economic recovery and growth in the United States. The demand for coins surged, and the Jefferson nickel remained an important part of everyday transactions. But this 1948 edition, without a mint mark, has become more than just pocket change. No mint mark means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins struck here in 1948 are recognized for their large mintage numbers, but it's their condition today that makes them stand out. Now, let's break down the key specifications of the 1948 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, facing left. The word Liberty is inscribed to the left, followed by the year of minting, 1948. A small star separates the two inscriptions. Below the portrait, you'll find the motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse side of the coin showcases Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. Above it, you'll see the words "E pluribus unum." Below the estate, you'll find Monticello followed by the denomination 5 cents and the country name, United States of America. Material composition: this nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it the durability to survive in circulation for years. Weight and diameter: it weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 mm. When it comes to the collector's market, condition is everything. A 1948 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark that has been in circulation will have wear and tear, diminishing its value. However, if you have one in extra fine condition, that's a different story altogether. In coin grading terms, extra fine refers to a coin that retains most of its original details with light wear. Here are some signs that your nickel might fall into this category. Obverse: the hair and facial features of Jefferson should be clearly defined with only slight wear, especially around the highest points. Reverse: Monticello should show strong details with some light wear visible on the columns and roof. Luster: a faint luster may still be present, but it won't be as bright as an uncirculated coin. Extra fine coins are graded as XF40 to XF45 on the Sheldon scale, meaning your coin looks impressive to collectors who care about both history and aesthetics. So, what's the big deal? How much can you expect to fetch for a 1948 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition? As of today, the collector market for this coin has experienced a bit of a surge. Although millions were minted in 1948, finding one in extra fine condition today is more challenging than you might think. Typical value: if your 1948 Jefferson nickel is in XF condition, you can expect its value to range between $350,000. That may seem modest at first glance, thanks to the condition. Special cases: in some instances, higher grade extra fine condition coins may fetch up to $400,000 depending on the buyer demand and the precise grade of the coin. For coins with sharp strikes and superior eye appeal, collectors may be willing to pay a premium. And if you find yourself holding a Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition from 1948, you're looking at values upward of $500,000 and possibly more for pristine examples. While exactly rare in terms of total mintage, its value lies in the condition. Coins from the 1940s often experienced heavy circulation, and many have seen significant wear. Extra fine examples have survived the test of time and are becoming increasingly scarce. Additionally, some collectors are interested in assembling a complete Jefferson nickel set, which means that high-quality examples from each year, including 1948, are in demand. And there you have it, the 1948 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition is more than just pocket change. Its combination of historical significance, scarcity in higher grades, and moderate collector demand has made it a hidden treasure for those who take the time to seek it out. If you have a 1948 Jefferson nickel lying around, take a closer look. You might just have a small but valuable piece of history in your hands. Whether you're a dedicated collector or just starting your numismatic journey, coins like these are proof that there's more to money than meets the eye. Next up, we're looking at a truly unique and fascinating coin, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1961 with the Denver Mint mark. This nickel is not just any ordinary coin. It's got a story, a distinct look, and a surprising value in today's market, especially if it's in very fine condition with that rare black shade. So let's dig in. First, Let's talk about the design. The Jefferson nickel debuted back in 1938, and the 1961 version continues that iconic design. On the obverse, you've got the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, designed by Felix Schlag. But what makes this particular 1961 D nickel stand out? It's not just the age, it's the condition. This coin here has a unique black shade that adds to its rarity and appeal for collectors. Now, this coin is in very fine condition. In grading terms, a very fine coin will show slight wear on the high points of the design, but all the details are still clear and sharp. On this 1961 with D nickel, you can still see the details in Jefferson's hair, and Monticello is crisp on the reverse side. But what really makes this coin a hot topic among collectors is the black shade, something not typically found in nickels of this era. Many of you might be wondering, how does a nickel end up with a black shade? Well, this is typically caused by environmental exposure or oxidation. Coins that have been in circulation for decades can develop this unique coloration, especially if they've been exposed to certain elements or have been stored improperly. But rather than detracting from the coin's value, in some cases it can actually increase it, making this nickel even more desirable to the right collectors. Alright, let's talk numbers. What's this coin worth today? In today's, the value of a 1961 with D Jefferson nickel in very fine condition with that black shade can range anywhere between $400,000 in the general market. But hold on, when you start considering the rarity of its condition, especially with that black tone, collectors could be willing to pay even more. We've seen some coins with unique environmental toning go for as high as $500,000 or more, depending on the buyer and the demand. Keep in mind, this isn't just your average 5-cent piece, it's got history, character, and rarity. Let's zoom out and take a look at why this coin is special in the broader context of American history. In 1961, the Denver Mint produced limited of these nickels. Not all of them have survived in such great condition over the years. The Denver Mint mark, which can be found on the reverse side to the right of Monticello, is key in identifying where this coin was minted. The 1961 with D is part of a larger collection of Jefferson nickels that many coin collectors aim to complete, which increases demand for this particular year and mint. So, if you're interested in adding a 1961 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel to your collection, here are a few things to keep in mind. First, make sure you're looking for coins in very fine condition or higher. You'll want to inspect the coin for wear and make sure the important details like Jefferson's profile and Monticello are clearly visible. Second, if you come across a nickel with a unique black shade, that could be a sign you've got something special on your hands. Finally, always check for the Denver Mint mark. That little D can make a big difference when it comes to value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, the 1961 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel is a fascinating coin that deserves a spot in your collection. Its history, rarity, and that unique black shade make it a true treasure. Next up, we're focusing on the 1947 with D Mint mark wheat penny in very fine condition. You might have some of these sitting in your old coin collections or change jars, but did you know that this coin could be worth much more than a cent? Stick around to find out why collectors are searching for these coins and how much they could be worth in today's market. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1947 with D wheat penny, let's take a quick look at the history of the wheat penny in general. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of an American president. The reverse of the coin featured 2 stalks of wheat, which is where the term wheat penny comes from. The wheat penny was minted until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The wheat penny was minted in several locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with each mint adding a unique mint mark to signify where it was produced. The 1947 wheat penny was one of the later versions of this iconic series. Now let's focus on the star of today's video, the 1947 with D wheat penny. The D mint mark signifies that this coin was minted in Denver. In 1947, Denver produced limited wheat pennies, which makes it one of the more uncommon dates in the series. However, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Today we're focusing on coins that have been graded as very fine. In coin grading terms, very fine means that the coin shows moderate wear on the high points of the design, but the main details like Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks are still clear and well defined. You can see some wear on the edges and surfaces, but overall, the coin maintains a solid appearance. This makes it desirable to collectors who appreciate both history and quality. So what is a 1947 with D wheat penny in very fine condition worth today? Well, like any collectible item, its value depends on demand and condition. Currently, a 1947 with D wheat penny in very fine condition is valued between $467,000. While this may seem like much at first glance, the real value comes when you consider how coins in higher grades. For collectors, Finding a coin in very fine condition can still be an exciting addition to a set and biggest investment for future, especially if they are looking to complete a date and mint mark collection of wheat pennies. Additionally, as the demand for vintage coins continues to grow, prices could rise over time, making even common date coins like the 1947 with D more valuable in the future. Several factors can increase the value of a 1947 with D wheat penny. First, errors and varieties. Any minting mistakes like doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes can raise the value significantly. Error coins are highly sought after by specialized collectors and can bring in a much higher premium than a standard coin. Another factor is the coin's luster and eye appeal. Even a coin in very fine condition can stand out if it has retained some of its original luster or if it displays particularly strong strikes. Coins with attractive patinas or toning can also fetch higher prices, as collectors prize coins that are visually unique and appealing. So while a 1947 with D wheat penny in very fine condition might make you rich overnight, it's still a cherished piece of history that holds a place in many collectors' hearts. Whether you're just starting your collection or adding to an existing one, this coin is a must-have for any fan of the Lincoln Cent series. Plus, who knows? As time goes on, its value might just surprise you. Next up, we're focusing on a classic American coin that you may have encountered in your pocket change, the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent coin without a mint mark. But wait, before you toss it aside, thinking it's just a regular penny, let's explore why this little copper coin could be worth more than you think. So, what exactly makes the 1978 Lincoln Cent without a mint mark so special in the collector's market today? Well, let's first break down the basics. This penny was minted in 1978, and just like most Lincoln Cents after 1959, it features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or the front of the coin, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the wheat ears design that was in use from 1909 to 1958. But here's where it gets interesting. The coin we're looking at today is one minted in Philadelphia, hence the absence of a mint mark. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint don't have a mint mark, so if you're holding a 1978 penny without a letter indicating where it was minted, that's perfectly normal. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the condition of the coin. The condition of a coin is a critical factor in determining its value. A coin in very fine condition means that it has seen some circulation but still retains a majority of its details. On our 1978 Lincoln Cent, you should be able to make out most of Lincoln's hair, the lines in his beard, and the details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. Now let's talk value. What determines how much this coin is worth in today's market? Well, there are several factors at play, including the coin's rarity, condition, demand from collectors, and whether it has any unique characteristics, such as errors or misstrikes. In 1978, the Philadelphia Mint produced limited of these pennies, which means the coin itself is particularly rare. However, despite the small mintage, higher-grade coins like those in very fine condition can still command higher prices in the collector's market due to their preservation. Let's break it down further. If you have a 1978 penny in very fine condition, you're likely looking at a value of around $245,000 now. I know what you're thinking, and you're right. But here's the thing: coins in even better condition, like those that are graded as mint state by professional grading services, can fetch significantly more. But for our focus today, a very fine condition 1978 penny will not usually break the bank. It's a cool addition to any collection, but unless it's in near perfect condition or has some sort of error, it's going to make you rich. However, that doesn't mean it's valuable in its own right. Sometimes the real value of coins like the 1978 Lincoln Cent comes from their history, symbolism, and the role they played in everyday American life. As a collector, it's not always about the dollar amount. It's about preserving a piece of history, holding a coin that survived over 4 decades, and imagining the countless hands it has passed through. So, whether you're just getting started with coin collecting or you've been at it for years, don't underestimate the humble 1978 penny. While it may be rare, it's a solid piece of numismatic history that could be worth holding on to, especially if you find one in a higher grade. Before we wrap up, remember to always check your pennies carefully. Even a minor error can increase a coin's value dramatically. There are known varieties in error coins out there, and if you find one, your humble penny could be worth much more than its face value. Things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or coins with clipped planchets can all add significant value to a seemingly ordinary coin. If you ever come across one of these, consider getting it professionally graded to understand its true worth. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating coin from Australia, the 2007 Australian 20 cents coin in extra fine condition. This coin might seem common at first glance, but stick around, because we're going to explore why collectors are giving it serious attention and how its market value is climbing in today's collector market. Look at this beauty, the 2007 Australia 20 cents coin from Australia. A piece of modern currency, yet it holds so much potential value for collectors, especially in extra fine condition. Let's first talk about the coin's design and a bit of its history. The 20-cent coin has been a staple of Australian currency since 1966, but what makes the 2007 version stand out? On the obverse, we have the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This iconic image was introduced to Australian coins in 1999 and is a familiar sight to anyone who collects Commonwealth coins. The reverse side features the distinctive and beloved platypus, a native Australian animal, designed by Stuart Devlin. This design is symbolic of Australia's rich wildlife and has been a consistent feature on the 20-cent coin since its inception. So what's special about the 2007 version of the 20-cent coin, and why are collectors so interested? The 2007 Australia 20-cent coin isn't considered a rare issue in terms of mintage numbers. However, the condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. Coins in extra fine XF or better conditions are particularly sought after by collectors. Why? Because finding a coin from regular circulation in such great condition is increasingly difficult. An extra fine condition coin shows minimal wear, sharp details, and just a slight hint of usage, something collectors absolutely love. For coins like this 2007 Australia 20 cents, the better the condition, the higher the value. Now let's get into the most exciting part. What is the collector market value of an Australian 2007 Australia 20 cents coin in extra fine condition today? As of today, the collector market is seeing increased demand for coins from the mid-2000s, especially those in extra fine or uncirculated condition. For the 2007 Australia 20 cents coin, its market value varies based on the condition, the presence of any unique characteristics, and demand at the time of sale. That Australia's 2007 Australia 20 cents coin in extra fine condition is valued between $500,000 in some cases. Depending on the buyer, the price can go even higher, reaching up to $530,000 or more for an exceptionally well-preserved piece. So, why could the value of this coin increase in the future? Here are a few reasons. First, there's the matter of scarcity. As more of these coins are pulled out of circulation by collectors, the number of high-quality 2007 Australia 20 cents coins in the market diminishes, which naturally drives up their value. Second, Australian coins from the early 2000s are starting to gain attention globally, especially as collectors from other countries show an increased interest in. Commonwealth coins condition is everything. Coins that are well preserved, like those in extra fine condition, are going to be in higher demand as time passes, making them more valuable in the long term. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, the Australia 20 cents 2007 coin in extra fine condition is one you should definitely keep an eye on. Its current market value may be highest, but as we've discussed, the future looks bright for this unique piece. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins from the World War II era, the 1944 wheat penny with D mint mark. We'll explore its fascinating history, unique features, and the big question on every collector's mind: what's it worth in today's market? Stay tuned to find out. The 1944 wheat penny holds a special place in numismatic history. Minted during the height of World War II, this penny was produced in large numbers, but it still carries significant historical value. The D mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the key production facilities for U.S. coins. Interestingly, just a year before, in 1943, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel due to copper shortages during the war. But by 1944, copper was back in use, primarily from recycled shell casings, making these pennies a product of the war effort itself. Let's take a closer look at the design. The obverse, or the head side of the penny, features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His design had been on the penny since 1909, and it remained largely unchanged. On the reverse side, you'll find the two wheat stalks, which give the coin its popular nickname. The wheat penny above the wheat ears is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. And of course, the denomination 1 cent and United States of America are inscribed. The simplicity of this design and its connection to American history are key reasons why collectors cherish this coin. As with any collectible coin, the value of a 1944 with D wheat penny depends largely on its condition. For today's video, we're focusing on the value of this coin in very fine condition. So what does that mean? A very fine VF coin shows moderate wear but still has sharp details. You can see some flattening on Lincoln's hair and cheekbones, as well as on the wheat ears on the reverse. But overall, the design elements remain clear, with only slight imperfections. It's a well-preserved coin, but it's definitely been circulated. So how does this affect its value? Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. How much is the 1944 with D wheat penny in very fine condition worth today? As of today, the market for wheat pennies has remained robust, with collectors and investors alike hunting for rare variations and well-preserved examples. While the 1944 with D wheat penny is as rare, In very fine condition, you can expect this coin to sell for around $500,000, but hold on. Before you dismiss that value, consider that higher grade versions of this coin, especially those in mint state, can fetch significantly higher prices. So, why does the value vary? There are several key factors that can influence the market price of a 1944 D wheat penny. Rarity, while limited of these pennies were minted, the number of surviving coins in excellent condition diminishes over time. Condition, as we discussed, the state of preservation is critical. Coins that are uncirculated or in mint state hold far more value than circulated coins with wear. Market demand, like any collectible, market trends can impact prices. As more people become interested in coin collecting, the demand for well-preserved wheat pennies tends to rise. In conclusion, while the 1944 with D wheat penny in very fine condition might make you rich overnight, it's still a valuable and meaningful addition to any collection. Its historical significance, connection to the war effort, and classic design make it a must-have for penny enthusiasts. If you're just starting out as a collector, look for wheat pennies in various conditions to get a feel for how grading works. And if you stumble upon one with an error or in mint condition, you could be holding something much more valuable than you realize. Next up, we're focusing on a coin that many of us have held in our hands but may not have thought much about: the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent coin without a mint mark. Is this penny actually worth more than just 1 cent today? Let's find out. The Lincoln 1 cent, or more commonly known as the Lincoln penny, has been an iconic part of American coinage since its introduction in 1909. The 1975 Lincoln penny is particularly interesting for collectors, not just because of its age but because of some unique factors that contribute to its potential value in today's market. Now, what makes the 1975 penny without a mint mark so intriguing? In 1975, pennies were minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin doesn't have a mint mark, it was produced in Philadelphia. The absence of a mint mark can often be overlooked, but for collectors, it's a key identifying feature. For those unfamiliar with coin grading, it's a system that helps determine the condition of a coin, which in turn greatly influences its value. The 1975 Lincoln penny we're focusing on today is in what's called very fine condition, or VF. But what exactly does that mean? In numismatics, a coin in very fine condition has seen moderate circulation but still retains many of its details. On this 1975 penny, Lincoln's hair and the lines in his coat will still be well defined, although there may be some wear around the edges and high points like his cheekbones and the tips of the wheat stalks or the Lincoln memorial on the reverse side. This level of wear places the coin in the VF range. So why would a 1975 penny without a mint mark in very fine condition be valuable to collectors today? While it's not as rare as certain other coins, it still holds interest for a few reasons. First, 1975 was during a time of change in the economy and rising inflation, which put a lot of wear on lower denomination coins. As a result, pennies from that time have become harder to find in better conditions. Very fine condition coins, especially those without a mint mark, are becoming more sought after by collectors who appreciate coins that have survived decades with only moderate wear. Now, let's talk about the value of this coin today. As of the current market, the value of a 1975 Lincoln penny without a mint mark in very fine condition can range widely depending on where you sell it and the interest among collectors. In today's market, a 1975 Lincoln penny without a mint mark in VF condition typically sells for around $253,000. While that might seem like a fortune, some collectors may be willing to pay more if the coin is part of a set or has particularly sharp details. Additionally, those who are assembling complete collections of Lincoln pennies from every year in mint mark can drive up the demand for coins like these. So what does the future hold for the 1975 Lincoln penny without a mint mark? While it may reach the sky-high values of some rarer pennies, it's a great example of how even more common coins can hold value beyond their face amount. As time goes on and fewer of these pennies remain in circulation, their collectible value could increase. The 1975 Lincoln penny without a mint mark in very fine condition may give you big amount, but it's a small piece of history that collectors appreciate. Whether you're holding on to yours for sentimental reasons or hoping to add it to your collection, remember that its value lies in both its monetary worth and the history it represents. Who knows, in a few more decades, its value could surprise you. Next up, we're diving deep into the world of American history through the lens of one iconic coin, the 1946 wheat penny, without a mint mark, in very fine condition. If you're a fan of rare coins, or are looking to expand your collection, this penny could hold a fascinating place in your numismatic journey. But more importantly, is this penny worth big money in today's collector market? Let's find out. The 1946 wheat penny is more than just a small copper coin, it's a piece of American history. Issued just after World War II, this penny was minted during a time when the United States was recovering from one of the most significant conflicts in human history. The wheat penny design itself, featuring 2 ears of wheat on the reverse side, symbolizes growth, prosperity, and hope for the future. This coin was the last of the Lincoln wheat cent series before the shift to the Lincoln Memorial reverse design in 1959. On the obverse, we have the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, which has been present on the 1-cent coin since 1909. On the reverse, we see the 1-cent inscription flanked by 2 wheat stalks with the words United States of America and E pluribus unum. Now, you may be wondering about the significance of this coin not having a mint mark. Coins produced without a mint mark were minted in Philadelphia, which was the primary U.S. mint at the time. The Philadelphia Mint did not place mint marks on its coins during this period, meaning that this particular 1946 wheat penny was produced in small numbers. Let's talk about the condition of this coin, specifically what very fine means. A very fine condition coin is one that shows moderate signs of wear but still retains many of its design details. On the 1946 wheat penny, this means you can clearly see Lincoln's hair and cheekbones, and most of the details in the wheat stalks are visible on the reverse side. However, there may be some slight flattening of the highest points due to circulation. Now for the big question, what is the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark worth in today's collector market if it's in very fine condition? In very fine condition, this coin typically fetches between $470,000 on the collector market today. However, this can fluctuate based on factors such as demand, the buyer's interest in completing a collection, and the overall state of the coin, while it may be a jackpot penny. However, if you happen to find a 1946 wheat penny with rare characteristics like doubling or other mint errors, its value could skyrocket, depending on the specific error and overall condition. Error coins are often sought after by collectors, and they can fetch a premium at auctions. So, while the 1946 wheat penny in very fine condition may be the crown jewel of your collection in terms of big dollar value, it's still a cherished piece of American history and a beautiful example of numismatic artistry. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1946 wheat penny is a must-have for any collection. Next up, we're focusing on a small yet iconic piece of American history, the Lincoln 1-cent coin, minted in 1970 at the Denver Mint, indicated by that little D mint mark below the date. This penny may look ordinary at first glance, but don't be fooled, this coin has become a sought-after treasure for collectors worldwide. So what makes the 1970 with D Lincoln cent so special? Well, it's not just about being old or rare, it's about the story behind it, its design, and most importantly, its condition. Today, we're focusing on this coin in very fine condition, which, as many collectors know, is quite impressive for a 54-year-old penny. Now, to quickly recap for those who might be new to the hobby, the grading of coins is crucial in determining their value. Coins can range from poor condition to mint state and beyond. For the 1970 with D Lincoln cent, very fine condition means the coin still has well-defined features, with some light wear, but overall, it retains much of its original detail. Lincoln's portrait remains sharp, and you can still see the finer details like the lines in his coat and the sharpness of the date. Let's take a step back and talk about the history of this coin. In 1970, America was going through some significant cultural and political shifts. The Lincoln cent was introduced way back in 1909, in honor of Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, and by the time 1970 rolled around, it had been an everyday part of American life for over 60 years. This coin represents that enduring legacy of Lincoln, as well as the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint during that era. So, why the Denver Mint? In 1970, the Denver Mint was one of the primary facilities for producing pennies. Coins produced at this mint are distinguished by the D mint mark, located just below the date. The Denver Mint, known for its high output, produced limited of these pennies. However, finding one in very fine condition today is not as common as you might think, especially as most were heavily circulated. Alright, now let's get to what most of you are probably waiting for. What is the value of a 1970 with D Lincoln cent in today's collector market? Its value can increase significantly depending on the condition and the demand among collectors. As of today, a 1970 with D Lincoln cent in very fine condition can range anywhere from $440,000 for coins in extremely well-preserved states. With some unique characteristics, they can fetch up to $600,000, depending on the collector's interest. So why such a wide range in price? Well, several factors play into a coin's market value, even for a common cent like this. One of the biggest factors is the coin's appeal to collectors. Rarity, condition, and historical significance all play a role. If a 1970 with D penny has an unusual mint error or an especially strong strike, it could sell for much more than the typical value for a coin in very fine condition. Now, if you're wondering where these coins are being bought and sold, so if you're planning to buy or sell, always check for the latest listings and trends. If you're thinking about collecting 1970 with D pennies, here's a quick tip: look for coins with minimal wear and sharp details, especially in the lettering and Lincoln's features. Avoid coins with heavy scratches or discoloration, as these can significantly lower the coin's value. So, is the 1970 with D Lincoln penny worth collecting? Absolutely. While it may give you a handsome amount, it's a piece of American history that represents a bygone era. Plus, as more collectors enter the market, the value of these coins could continue to rise. If you've got one in your collection or happen to stumble upon one in your pocket change, take a closer look, you might just have a hidden gem. Next up, we're talking about a true classic that's captivated collectors for decades, the 1934 wheat penny. But this isn't just any penny. It's a 1934 wheat penny with no mint mark, in fine condition. And yes, it's a bit dirty. Could this little coin be worth more than you think? Let's find out. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958 and is one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. Named for the pair of wheat ears depicted on the reverse side, these pennies represent a critical period in the United States numismatic timeline. The year 1934 was a time when the U.S. was recovering from the Great Depression, and coins minted during this period carry a deep historical significance. The 1934 wheat penny, in particular, reflects the resilience of the American people during tough times. So what makes this 1934 wheat penny special? First, you might notice it lacks a mint mark. That means this coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1934, limited of these pennies were produced. Our particular penny here is in what collectors would call fine condition. That means it shows considerable wear, but most of the details are still visible. Plus, there's some dirt on the surface, something that might lower its grade, but also adds character, showing its journey through nearly a century of use. Now, some of you might be wondering, does the dirt impact the value? Well, yes and no. For high-grade coins, cleanliness and luster are important, but for a penny like this one in fine condition, the dirt mostly tells a story. Some collectors actually like the natural aging and don't mind the tarnish or dirt, while others prefer a cleaner look. Still, dirt may slightly reduce the value, but given that it's still in decent condition, this penny can hold a good place in a collection. Alright, so let's get to the exciting part. What's this 1934 wheat penny worth today? Now, if you have this coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could fetch you a nice sum, but for a penny in fine condition like ours, as of today, a 1934 wheat penny in fine condition, even with some dirt, could sell for around $250,000 depending on the buyer, depending on how the market is feeling that day. Remember, the value can fluctuate based on demand, rarity, and condition. Of course, while it's fun to think about the highest value, coins like this carry a lot of historical and sentimental value too. Imagine, this penny was in circulation nearly 90 years ago, passing through the hands of countless Americans during a pivotal time in history. Whether it was used to buy a loaf of bread or saved as a keepsake, this penny represents a small but significant piece of our shared past. If you're just getting into coin collecting, wheat pennies are a fantastic place to start. Here are a few quick tips if you're hunting for a 1934 wheat penny. Inspect the coin carefully for key details like date, mint mark, or lack of, and overall wear. Look for clean, well-preserved coins, but don't shy away from slightly dirty ones if they have character. So there you have it. The 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark may give you a handsome amount. It's a wonderful piece of history that could still earn you extra cash. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always exciting to see what hidden treasures you might uncover. Next up, we're focusing on a particular year, 1973. And what makes this coin so special? Well, for one, there's no mint mark. But before we get into the details, let's take a quick trip back to 1973, a year of economic shifts when the Lincoln penny played a vital role in American commerce. 1973 was a turbulent time for the U.S. economy. Inflation was rising, oil prices were fluctuating, and the demand for everyday goods was higher than ever. The Lincoln penny remained a steadfast part of the economy, circulating heavily in everyday transactions. But what's interesting about this particular 1973 penny is that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it doesn't have a mint mark. Philadelphia-produced pennies typically do not bear a mint mark. The no mint mark 1973 Lincoln penny is made from a 95% copper composition, with the remaining 5% being a combination of tin and zinc, weighing in at 3.11 grams. This penny was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on the shoulder of Lincoln's bust on the obverse side. The obverse side features a detailed profile of President Lincoln, along with the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," as well as the year 1973. The reverse side displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial, with the denomination 1 cent and the United States motto "E Pluribus Unum" along the top. While the design may seem simple at first glance, it's this classic look that makes the Lincoln penny a favorite among collectors. So what does it mean if your 1973 Lincoln penny has no mint mark and is in very fine condition? Well, first, let's define what very fine means. A coin in very fine condition shows only minor wear on the high points of the design. For a 1973 penny, this means you can still clearly see Lincoln's hair and ear details, and the lines of the Lincoln Memorial are well defined, though with slight wear. A very fine condition coin will have some visible wear, but it retains most of its details and luster. This is important when we consider the value in today's collector market. Now, let's talk value. The 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is common in circulated condition, which means that for well-worn examples, you're not looking at anything extraordinary in terms of price. They typically go for just a few cents, even to collectors. However, when we get to the higher grades, like very fine or extra fine, the value starts to increase. For a 1973 Lincoln penny without a mint mark in very fine condition, the collector's market value today is generally around $300,000. While this might seem like much. But wait, there's more. While these values might seem astronomical, the Lincoln penny is one of the most popular coins to collect. Completing a full set of Lincoln pennies from various years and mints is a goal for many collectors, and that drives demand. So even a coin like the 1973 no-mint mark penny in very fine condition has its place in building a collection. Plus, copper-based coins have intrinsic metal value, which can add to their appeal over time. As copper prices continue to rise, the metal content of older pennies, like those minted before 1982, adds an additional layer of value. A 1973 Lincoln penny is 95% copper, and with copper becoming more valuable, these coins could see a boost in price in the future. It's still a valuable and iconic piece of American history. Whether you're a casual collector, looking to complete a set, or interested in the potential future value of copper, this coin has something to offer. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.